All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of our Madden 25 Connected Franchise Owner Mode Fantasy Draft Buffalo Bills Ralph Wilson YouTube series. What? Today is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. Today we are going to get started by celebrating our victory at home over the Philadelphia Eagles. The 6-1 Philadelphia Eagles came into Bills Field and they left with their tails between their legs. The Buffalo Bills advanced to 6-1 on the season. They maintained their 2-game lead in the AFC East. And despite our loss 2 weeks ago, all things are going pretty swimmingly. I'm impressed with this team, and especially our defense with our effort this past game. And things are going just fine. We're going to start off today by progressing our DBs and our specialists. Also today we're going to have a little bit of a special trip into contract land because we have a couple contracts that we want to start to kind of try and rework and sign. But until then, let's just focus on advancing our players, making them better, getting the goods. We're going to start off by just advancing Vontae Davis's awareness a bit, get that up to an 89. We'll get his catching up to a 69 because Vontae Davis admittedly leaves a lot of interceptions on the field, just because they hit his hand and he's not able to wrap him up. From there, we'll bring up his pursuit a little bit just because it's so pathetic. Well, it's not that pathetic for a cornerback. I think it's actually probably pretty good, but we can get it up to a 74 and leave it at that. Vontae Davis really progressing into one of the best corners in the entire league. I think the last time I checked for all the standings in this league, he's 93 overall. I think he's top 5. I think Richard Sherman, Antonio Cromartie, certainly Darrell Revis is above him. And I think Brandon Flowers might be above him. But really, there's very few people who are better. Definitely a guy we're proud to have on this team as a top corner. Meanwhile, we're on to Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, whose name hilariously does not fit on the marquee. We start off with his awareness as well. From there, there's many places we can go with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie because he is such a kind of I don't want to say bizarre because that's just rude, but in a way he kind of is. He's somebody who he's got great stamina. He's got great speed, obviously acceleration, agility. He's got good hands for a corner. That's why he's got 6 interceptions this year through 7 games, which is unbelievable. But definitely somebody who has some holes. For example, his tackling is kind of pathetically low at 50, and I think we've even upgraded that before. Just other areas, block shedding is at 30. That's pretty pathetic. But again, with that said, still so good in other areas. We're going to work on his press man coverage, I think. Try and get that up to about a 75-ish. I would like to play more press, actually, because Vontae Davis is so good at it. It's what he probably is best at for everything in his repertoire. But Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie struggles with it on the other side, so we don't do it a whole lot. But there you go. We get his up a bit, so maybe we will have the freedom to do it a little more often. After that, let's go to Drake Kirkpatrick, the youngin'. Drake Kirkpatrick, just 24 years young. Last season, we saved up a bunch of points, got his development to quick. He's just a second-year man playing for the real-life Cincinnati Bengals, who were tragically knocked out of the playoffs this past year. Again, as I've said on this channel many times before, I don't have any particular allegiance to an NFL team. However, I got to say I was rooting for the Bengals last Sunday. Or was it Saturday? I think it was Sunday. I can't remember because anything that happens more than a couple days ago, I can't remember. But I was cheering for the Bengals just because it's been so damn long since they won a playoff game. They haven't won a playoff game since 1990. I mean, my goodness, that's a hell of a long time. But regardless, Kirkpatrick is ours in this world, in our little Madden world. So we're going to keep working on him, get his man coverage up a bit. That's, I think, where we'll come back to next time we upgrade him. But getting the awareness up, very important for the DBs, especially the ones who are 24 years old and, are certainly our future. Brian McCann up next. I think for McCann, we're going. His awareness is already 80, so I already know where we're going with with all his points. Actually, man coverage. Wow. Man coverage for Brian McCann up to a 92 now. That surprises me. Brian McCann has really struggled at times in man coverage, and maybe it's because Brian McCann, typically works in the slot because he is our fourth or fifth corner in all the time. But hey, impressive work there. Meanwhile, we're on to Jason Romano. Romano came in as our 5th-round pick from this past season, and Romano just weird guy. He's got 88 speed, which isn't great, but isn't awful for a corner. But he's just got this amazing strength and tackling ability for a corner that is kind of hard to explain. We talked about maybe moving Romano to the inside as a linebacker of some kind. The reality so far has been we haven't been able to do that. But in the meantime, even though he's kind of this weird, kind of semi-safe, like strong safety / outside linebacker type, we're going to keep developing him because you know what? We're going to find a spot for him eventually. And when we find a spot for him eventually, he's going to be unstoppable because he's got the coverage ability of a corner, and the speed of I wouldn't say a dominant corner because he's not a Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie like 98 speed, but he's got good coverage ability. But he's got the tackling chops of a linebacker. He's got 71 strength, which is okay for an outside linebacker. But look at this, tackling is 85 for a corner to have 85 tackling. That's off the freaking charts. So Romano not doing a lot this season, mostly staying or just riding the bench. But in the meantime, I really don't care what he's up to because the reality is Romano is just 20 years old. He's so young. And eventually, whether it takes 1 year, 2 years, or 8 years, we're going to find a spot for him to play, and he's going to shine. It's just a matter of developing him along, working on the holes in his game, and finding a spot. Exactly, just finding a spot for this 20-year-old kid who's kind of bizarre, to be perfectly honest. Anyways, moving on from there, we move on to our free safeties, neither of whom I've been super high on this season. Sanford came to us granted, Sanford's a little older. Sanford's already 29 years old, but he came to us 78 overall. He's developed a bit, but for the most part, his speed is kind of letting us down, to be perfectly honest. He's been our guy this season. He's been our user player for the most part. His tackling ability, we've improved it a lot. We've been bringing that. That's been the main area where we've been improving him, trying to bring him along. But for the most part, he's struggled kind of, I think the biggest thing is he lacks the pure speed to get over and make moves and stuff. And the other free safeties, but Chris Connie came to us at the age of 24 last season, showed up. He was 75 overall, and he's developed so slowly, just not coming along at the rate at which we'd hoped. And he has, unlike Sanford, he has some more speed. He does have, his strength isn't great, it's 65, but his tackling or speed is 89, which is not bad for a free safety. There are free safeties that are slower, but he's just he struggles to make tackles and to make plays for when he's in the game. We have talked in the past about potentially moving him over Sanford, but honestly, when we have in the past, it hasn't worked out all that well. He's mostly let us down. So we have talked about potentially drafting a free safety or maybe drafting a corner and kind of having a hybrid between the two. And who knows, maybe Jason Romano is our eventual free safety. Personally, I think he'd be better fit at the strong safety spot. But with that being said, we'll keep developing Connie along at the very least. Hopefully he can be, trade bait, even if he doesn't work out at the free safety spot. And there you go, 81 overall now after those upgrades. Who knows? Maybe he does have a future. Shamarko Thomas, meanwhile, has been growing like a weed since day one. He came to us just 75 overall and grossly undersized. He's just 5'8". Obviously, he hasn't gotten taller, but he has gotten so much better over the time that he's been here. We saved a bunch of points up last season to upgrade his development, and we have been rewarded in spades. He's 84 on the year now. He's probably going to get better. His awareness has taken a lot of work because he was a rookie last season. He's so young, still just 23 years of age now. Was 22 as a starter last year. Plays for the real life Pittsburgh Steelers, a 4th-round pick of theirs in 2013. And between the tackling and the awareness and the zone coverage, I think we're going to see him bump up again in the overall column. Just every time we see him, he gets smarter, he gets better. There's so many things he does well. There's obviously many more places he can get better, but look at that jumping, look at that hit power, look at that agility. Speed of 91's impressive. Acceleration, like he's just like a little rocket to the ball. He's like a little cannonball of just pure hatred when he encounters his enemy. There you go, 85. Again, just 23 years of age. Stellar stuff. Meanwhile, Marcus Gilchrist, he was on the other side of that win last weekend, where he saw his Chargers defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to start him off with just some awareness, get him up into the 80s. And one of the things that's really nice about Madden that I really like is when you get to see these players that you've developed really start to succeed. You know, like Marcus Gilchrist, when he first came across him, same thing with Thomas, same thing with Connie. A lot of these guys, these safeties, these backups, you know, their awareness was in the absolute toilet when we showed up. Their awareness, you know, for a lot of them would have been in the, you know, the low 60s. And now, after just a couple seasons with them, or season and a half, you know, we've brought them along in other ways. You know, their tackling ability, their jumping ability, or their catching ability, or their tackling ability, their hit power, whatever. But all of a sudden, like that awareness part of the game, like they learned some of it on their own. It's not all just us upgrading manually, but man, it improves them so much. It makes them such smarter players, so much better, and it's awesome, awesome stuff. Meanwhile, Greg the Leg, we're going to be able to upgrade his accuracy by 1 and his consistency up to the full 4, which is wonderful. We spent all his points on that. Greg the Leg missed 1 field goal all last season. He's missed 1 this year, but bada bing, bada boom. He's been reliable when we've needed him. His miss didn't cost us a game. We can say that. Meanwhile, Sam Martin will be able to get his accuracy up 1, and we can get his consistency up to 3, which is nice. Sam Martin has just punted twice this entire season, once being this past game, but that doesn't matter. As long as he's good when he's called upon, that's all we can really ask. So that's good stuff. Meanwhile, we'll be back with our first group of guys on Tuesday of next week after we play our game. Meanwhile, before we go on to scouting, one thing I'd like to do, and this is, I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing to do on practice and upkeep, because I don't know how many guys we really want to renegotiate with, but we have some players on this team whose contracts are expiring at the end of this season, who we want to lock up before long. And, you know, let's go to the contracts page or the salaries page just to let you guys know. Now, here's the thing. The contracts, now, we focused almost not at all on the contracts last season. The reason being that when you do a fantasy draft, all the contracts are redone. So the pre-existing contracts that players had are no longer in effect in real life. They're given new things. So the main thing to look at with contracts is the length of the contract and the total money. Now, Aaron Rodgers, for instance, $60 million over 5 seasons. That means he's making $12 million a year as a cap, or as a cap hit. Then the other number to worry about, and this is important to keep in mind, is the bonus money. Now, $15 million. That means that a quarter of Aaron Rodgers' money is bonus money, which also means that it's guaranteed. You've probably heard about that when NFL players sign real contracts, like, oh, they signed for 5 years and $60 million and X number of dollars are guaranteed. Well, that's a bonus. So for Aaron Rodgers, $15 million at the original part of his deal were guaranteed. So the $12 million that he's getting made a season, $3 million of that, a quarter of it, is guaranteed. So now that we've paid off last year of his contract, he's got 4 more years left, $48 million. And of those original $15 million that were guaranteed, there's $12 million left, 3 per season. So if we were to trade Aaron Rodgers, here's where the bonus money comes in. If you trade a player or you release a player with guaranteed money, you don't get it back. So if we had to pay or trade or cut Aaron Rodgers, which obviously is not in the plans, we would have to pay him that original money. And it would go on to next year's cap penalty. As you can see, the top right corner of the screen, 2015 cap penalty, that money there, most of that $1.2 million, which we have to pay out next year, is for the trade that we made to send Heath Miller over to the Cincinnati Bengals for a 3rd-round pick. That's where that penalty. Now, it's a small penalty. It was worth the trade, but we do actually have to pay Heath Miller some money next season after that trade. With that being said, there are some players next season that we might be looking at replacing who have some money as a bonus. It's not a lot, though. For example, one player we've talked about potentially trading away and replacing was Eric Wood at the center spot. If we draft a rookie, Eric Wood has a $6 million deal, so he's making $2 million, and originally $750 of that deal for 3 years was guaranteed. That means that $250,000 of that contract every year is guaranteed. So if next year we traded him, he'd have 1 year left on the contract. That means we'd take a $250,000 cap penalty. Personally, I'm not concerned about that because it's such a small amount of money, but it's just something to keep in mind. So what I'm thinking is that as time goes on, we can maybe just once a week try and renegotiate a contract with somebody who we want to keep. Now, the players who have 1 year remaining on their contract are Austin Lane, Jason Hunter, Camille Linton, Roberto Garza, Danny Watkins, Miles Burris, Bruce Campbell, Jeff Cumberland, Niles Paul, John Bostic, Doug Baldwin, Brian McCann, Chris Connie, Jonathan Franklin, Marcus Gilchrist, and Bruce Gradkowski. Now, do we want all those players to come back? No, that's not the reality. Some of these players we want we want to make them disappear at the end of the season. However, with that said, let's start off with John Bostic. John Bostic came into this team making just $1.25 million a season with only $100,000 of that money guaranteed. It was a 2-year deal. I would like to sign him again. I didn't think that he was tremendous last season in his development. He came here though just 71 overall. Now it's 79. He's developed nicely. He's worked his way up, and we've spent a lot of time investing in him. I would like to re-sign him for not a huge contract. I don't think he merits a huge contract, but it would be nice to enter negotiations with him and see what he's kind of thinking and see what wow, I would like this deal. 3 years, 3.36, 170 as the bonus. That's what he wants. Now, I would be happy to add a 4th year to this contract because we have, again, as you can see, $33.3 million of cap room. We have a ton of money to play with. I would be happy because I don't see us trading or releasing John Bostic. I would be happy to keep the salary here, but put in a little bit of extra bonus money, especially considering with 4 years, $200,000 being the bonus. That's only $50,000 a season. So even after, if 2 seasons of this contract were done, we traded him. That's only $100,000 against the cap that we'd have to pay out now. Obviously, in real life, if it was $100,000, that's a ton of money. But the reality is, right now, it's not, because this is Madden and every team is rich. We have $132 million in the bank. Hello. So John Bostic, we'll submit that offer. We're going to submit it officially. We put in some extra money, and definitely that bonus. Hopefully the bonus is what catches him for 4 years, and we'll see. Hopefully that we'll get an update either this episode or on Tuesday under the actions column. If not, maybe they get back to you immediately. I'm not sure. I think in the offseason they get back to you immediately. I don't know if that's different for in-season, and sure enough, we cannot see a response from John Bostic's agent. Maybe we'll get that when we advance a week. If not, we'll see it for sure on Tuesday of next week in episode number 77. In the meantime, though, we are going to continue checking out some of the left tackles we were this past episode. Again, we're not sure. Nothing's set in stone with the draft. We don't know for sure whether or not we're going at the left tackle spot, but in case we are, we just always want to be in our tippy toes for what's going down and who's available, and that way we'll be able to make the best decision we can. So far, I've really liked the Skylar Glazier kid. I like the fact that his pass blocking is an A. I don't like his size, particularly 6'2", 313. Seems kind of undersized to me for a tackle. But aside from that, he looks like a decent project that we could take on. Next up is a bigger kid, Alante Gibbons, 6'7", 292, still 22 years of age. Gibbons here is out of Central Michigan. I would like to just see, again, his basics. Pass blocking is only a B, but his run blocking is better too. It's a B. Impact blocking is a B. I like that. His strength is a B. Not crazy about that. Awareness is a C. Acceleration a C. Injuries a B. Not sure if I'm crazy about that. Stamina is a B. That's pretty good. Toughness, personality, confidence is a 2. So he's a little more confident in himself. Let's check out high motor. Yes, he does. I like that. His scheme is a West Coast, so more of a pass blocker. Quick release kind of guy. Durability is a D, though. Eesh. I don't know if I like that. Gibbons, Not sure if I'm crazy about him either, but still could be a decent project. Now let's check out Justin Kibler, 6'4", 290. Zone run, I don't mind that. Durability is an A. Let's check out the rest of them. Pass blocking is a C. I don't like that. But his run blocking is an A. His strength is a B. I don't like that as much. Acceleration's a C. Agility, C. Impact blocking is an A. I like that. Awareness is C. Stamina is an A. I like that. Injuries an A. I like that. Toughness is C. Personality, F. Confidence is a 2. That's kind of nice. His motor, meanwhile, he does have a high motor. I like that. So maybe Justin Kibler, if we're going to have a really high third-round pick coming over from the New York Giants, maybe Kibler's the guy to go with. As you can see, there's a really big drop-off in terms of left tackles after Kibler, whereas Glazier, Gibbons, and Kibler are kind of all in that same range of late second, early third. So maybe, who knows, maybe we'll be in a position where we can actually draft this Justin Kibler kid and just bring him along. Now, we do also have Michael Roos, who I think is still a very good tackle in this league, and Bruce Campbell as his backup has done some nice development, or has enjoyed some nice development rather, and done some nice things. He's improved. I just don't know if he's the guy who we want to hand off the future of the left side of our offensive line to. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, though, I feel more comfortable now having at least investigated who else is there, and we have the rest of the season to scout. Obviously, this season we have some extra points to play with in the scouting department, so now that we've checked that out, we'll advance. Hopefully here we have a response from Bostic's agent. It'd be nice to see that we have either yes or no, either way. And then personally, I think that wrapping up John Bostic, and some people will say, well, John Bostic is only 79 overall. Well, the reality is John Bostic is 23 years old, folks. He's got, and look at that, contract accepted. I can already see it on the menu. So John Bostic, contract accepted, 4 years, $3.4 million for salary and $800,000 of bonuses. So he's making just about $1 million a season, $4.2 million over 4 years. That to me is a huge win for this team. I was expecting to have to pay John Bostic more. And again, he's 79 overall. He's not an all-pro player right now. But if John Bostic, again, who is a rookie, who is just young, and that's interesting. So this is including the contract. So the contract will kick in next year, not this year. So we have him wrapped up, again, just 23. We developed him as a 22-year-old kid. Along the way, he's developed from 71 to 79 in a year and a half. I think he could top out in the mid-80s, or who knows, maybe even higher. A lot of linebackers especially don't hit their stride till they're 25, 26, 27. So, hey, I'm loving it. In the meantime, though, in preparation for our game at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, we're going to practice right now. Practice against the Flippity Flops. I feel excited. We're coming off 3 straight wins over the Flippity Flops. We lock up our franchise middle linebacker, who, again, as you guys might be able to recall, there was a time where I wasn't sold on John Bostic. Quickly, before I tell the story, it's the start of the fourth quarter. You're leading by a field goal. Sure, let's go hold the lead this time. Hold the lead against the Flippity Flops will be our practice scenario today. But as I was saying, there was a time, especially as this season began, that I wasn't sold on John Bostic. The reality is, since he's come on board and been playing without us as a user player, I've started to see more and more good things out of him. He's really starting to cover sideline to sideline well. Again, he moves really well for a for a middle linebacker. In addition to that, his tackling and his strength is so good. Always has been. It's just a matter of getting him to learn a little more about pass coverage, learn a little bit more about the awareness factor of the game. But I feel like as long as we're able to make that happen, which I think we can, and we already have to a degree, like we're already starting to see some of that development really nicely. I think we can really see him start to flourish soon and really grow into, I think, a dominant middle linebacker. Here, though, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie gets beaten downfield. Guess who? John Bostic back to make the tackle. Very quick 23-yard gain for the Flippity Flops, not wasting any time, coming out, throwing it deep. to the left-hand side. Here, the flippity-flops quarterback's going to be flanked by a tight end and a running back. 3 wide receivers, 2 wide left, 1 wide right. And on the blitz, they're going to go over the middle. Dre Kirkpatrick not able to wrap him up, but Sharknado Thomas comes up and does his Sharknado-type things on the receiver, laying him down. Again, as I said, just a little ball of hate. Just a little cannonball like firecracker. And, man, he does that well. Anyways, Flippity Flops coming out. They're going to run it off the left side. Sanford meets him in the hole along with, it looks to be Bostic there, as well as Jason Hunter. Nice play overall. Stopping the run for just a 3-yard gain. It'd be wonderful to stop the Flippity Flops here for a field goal and be able to drive the field on offense with the game tied. They're going to run it up the gut here again. The running back strips a tackle there. Rob Nankovich could have had him for a gain of just about 2 or 3. Instead, the running back sets up the Flippity Flops 3rd and inches at the 6-yard line. And we're going to have John Bostic standing here. It is shotgun. We're going to go over to Justin Durant because he's going to need help covering a wide receiver by himself. I don't think this will end very well. Oh, but fortunately, very nice coverage. And there's a sack. Thaddeus Gibson. Justin Durant with phenomenal coverage. He just needed some help from us. That's all. Get some phenomenal coverage on the wide receiver. Nowhere to go. The quarterback goes down. And let's actually, you know what, before anything else, let's get a quick thumbnail. Thaddeus Gibson has had his fair share of thumbnails, but considering that how nice of a group effort that was, the entire defensive line gets in on that one. I think that deserves a thumbnail. Anyways, Flippity Flops kicker comes in to tie this game up. He does. Practice scenario tied now 24-24. 2:09 left in the practice scenario. We're going to go return middle 2, which is my personal favorite return. And Gino Castro. By the way, I was looking at Gino Castro's numbers the other day. Gino Castro, and he gets tackled for a loss there. 15-yard line is all he gets back to. I was checking out Gino Castro's numbers. I think he has 11 returns on the season for an average of what I think, if I remember correctly, is 33.5 yards, which when you think about it is like stupid. 33.5 yards. That means every time he catches a kick, let's say the average kick comes down at the goal line, he's allowing us to start at the 33.5 yard line. That's unbelievable. Anyways, Darren Sproles, and he's going to get tackled for a loss here too. Darren Sproles comes back after getting injured. Last game had 2 really nice catches for us and 1 rush that he actually fumbled away and actually led to a Philadelphia Eagles score. Was really the only point of the game past about halftime that I was concerned for us. Fortunately, there's a flag down. Eric Baldwin makes a nice move to get up the field for what looked like to be a first down, but the flag, we're going to have to sort this out here. The flag came out early, and it's offensive pass interference. 2nd and 19 coming up right around 6-yard line. Guys, we're going backwards. What's going on? Jeez, I have no idea what happened there. Eric Baldwin called for offensive pass interference. We're going to go bunch trail. Hopefully we can hit somebody here for a nice gain and set up 3rd and short. As it turns out, Eric Baldwin open and narrow. We just don't quite get him in the seam. He was open. The pass was nice. That would have come very close to setting up a first down. Instead, we're left 3rd and 19. What do you do on 3rd and 19, folks? We had a loss of yardage when Darren Sproles was wrapped up in the backfield, and then we followed that up with a penalty, and then an Eric Baldwin missed opportunity, and instead we're going to have to go open the top for Eric Baldwin, and he gets hit, not able to bring it in. A perfect pass from Aaron Rodgers. Eric Baldwin not able to bring it in, and so the offense that has been so good the last while is going to have to kick it away. Sam Martin into punt, 4th and 19 at our own 6-yard line, and look at this. The Flippity Flops are going to be able to return it up to, and they break out. The returner breaks a tackle up to the 39-yard line. They're almost in field goal range already. We have no ability to stop the clock, which means that we're going to need to stop them right here, not allow any yardage. From here, it would be a 56-yard field goal, so probably a little bit out of the Flippity Flops range, but with that being said, we need to stop them now for like nothing. Jamarcus Sanford steps up in a big way, reads the play nicely, gets the running back down. And Sanford, and there's a sack. Beautiful stuff. 3rd and 16. That looked to be Jason Worlds coming up. 3rd and 16 now. We can't let them get more than a few yards here. Again, the field goal range imminent. And there's, a quarterback, almost a quarterback sack. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, he gets the pick in the end zone. Beautiful play. Defense playing lights out right now. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie with the pick in the end zone sets up the offense again. And so the offense, the last few games, particularly against our division foes, the Jets, then against the Dolphins in a very high-scoring affair, and then the Patriots where we actually lost. But in the last few games, the offense has really had to bail out the defense. The defense allowing 30-plus points a game. The offense having to score on every drive just to keep up with the score. Now, today in practice, we're seeing the defense play well enough that that's actually covering the offense's ass. By all means, after that punt on 3rd and so long, it looked like we were going to have to suck it up and take a loss in this practice scenario. Instead, the defense comes up huge. The defense was literally not allowed to give up a positive yard on that last drive. And what do? They come out, they force a sack, and then just dominate. It's phenomenal stuff. Anyways, we are going to quickly call verticals, and unless we have a man wide open, we're just going to do this and throw it away. That will allow the clock to stop. It will give us a chance to quickly regroup. 29 seconds left in the practice scenario. We do not have any timeouts. So we need to get this ball in the air. We need to get out of bounds and get into Greg the Leg range. Fortunately for us, Greg the Leg is not somebody who's difficult to get into range. And Deshaun Jackson undercuts the cornerback in zone, and that is wonderful. 25 seconds left. Another chance for us to go to the corner. Here we're going to look to Doug Baldwin on the right side. If not, Eric Baldwin's going to run the quick out, and a safety blitz. Safety comes free, but Doug Baldwin comes open right in front of the corner, who is, again, going way back in zone. And it looks to me like we are going to be able to kick a field goal here for the win. It would be a 50-yarder right now, but that's okay. Greg the Leg can make them from 50 yards out. Here's the biggest issue is that we don't have any means of stopping the clock, and we don't want to kick a field goal with, that much time left, but we also don't want the clock to keep running. And worst nightmare right here, 15 seconds left. We're going to have to snap the football. We're going to have to throw it away. I think we can get there fast enough, and yes, we will. Don't worry. We're going to snap the ball with 7 seconds left. Aaron Rodgers immediately throws it away, so 4 seconds left. We stop the clock, and we're going to have a chance for Greg the Leg to come out and win this practice scenario for us. A timeout is called by the Flippity Flops. Now, I don't think that this will end the practice scenario. We might have a second left, but at least this will give us a chance to just squib it on the kickoff and then go from there. So here we go. The play clock at 30 seconds. We bring the ball back. It is up. Greg the Leg is good, as he always seems to be. And that does end the practice scenario. All right, guys. So we take our 4th straight practice scenario against the Flippity Flops. We're 6-1 on the season. We've wrapped up our franchise middle linebacker for a very nice deal financially for the next 4 years after this one. All wonderful things. Let's celebrate the weekend. Kick back and have a drink on me, folks. I'm Tuxedo T-Shirt. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great weekend. I'm out.